Hey folks, I'm Aaron and welcome back to the second episode of our Let's Play on Stellar Sovereigns. In our first episode, we talked a little bit about the game setup and some of the mechanics for getting your colony started. And we had just sent Upsilon Core off to Aphrodite to check things out, see what type of planet we have there. So, um, we have also set some stuff going to check some of the system survey information in our home system, and we've gotten some of that information back. So let's see what we got. Looks like the investigation of the wreck got us about 500, 600,000, which is good. We've also detected a signature. Okay, that's at where we're headed with our combat fleet, and that's probably going to be an issue. So let's see what happens when our fleet gets in range. We may have to uh, adjust where they're headed to. Also looks like the Hades has been retrofitted with a good bit of the mining upgrades that we requested. And we've got some decent resources coming in. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of how our empire is performing and see what we need to do. Okay, so let's take a look at the quarry flotilla, and it looks like we're getting not too great of income, but we're getting some of the tritanium alloy there. So that's pretty good. We're also starting to get a few pioneers, which is good. We'll need about 2,500 of those before we can colonize a new planet. So let's go ahead and just keep going. One thing that you'll notice is that Stellar Sovereigns tends to be focused more on tall gameplay. It's not to say that you can't do wide. I've done it several times and left the AI to kind of handle most of the planets, but I find tall to be a lot more enjoyable in this game, which is kind of rare in 4X games. Okay, let's see what we got. It looks like stage 1 did not find anything, and we're still looking at stage 2. And it also looks like we're about 2 turns off of stage 2 wreck. So, looks like we have a sectoid fleet here. So I'm going to redirect because at this stage in the game, there's no way my starting fleet can really manage that easily. We'll probably end up losing the fleet if I'm not careful, but let's go ahead and take a look at it and see what we've got. Okay, so we have, a carrier type class for the sectoids, as well as a frigate type, and it looks like a not sure what that one is, but yeah, we don't want to really tangle with them, so let's redirect to a new planet. I will go up to Elonius here instead and see where we are. And before we move on, let's go ahead and set a waypoint and say sectoid, so we know what's there and we don't try to like send people there and get hurt. Next, we'll check on our main planet, see what's going on. We're still doing pretty good here. Looks like we're getting 34. So we're doing good with our. We can probably drop that down a little bit. We are running. It looks like. Let's go ahead and add another 200 there. And since it looks like it's going to be a while before we get a new colony, I'm going to go ahead with our cultural enterprises. So edicts are interesting in that they don't use money usually to enable, same as the stimulus. They use what's called political capital, and we start out with 50. However, to get more political capital, we'll either need to set up some buildings, which we'll probably do that here. Let's go ahead and set up a political forum that will net us about 0.25 political capital per turn. In a few turns, we'll get going with that. And then The other way of getting it is by increasing the approval factor on your planet. So the higher your approval, you'll start to generate more of that, depending upon how much of your how large the population is on those planets. So everything else here looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and see about advancing again. Hades is going along well. Let's go ahead and check on that and see what's going on. Looks like we still have a few things here, but none of these are really important for us to add. We're still getting a positive income, which is good. So let's continue on. We have our second stage of the planetary survey. It's like we found cave systems, and it looks like we were able to get a precursor heavy freighter. Cool. That's going to be helpful in the future. So let's go ahead and redirect our efforts now, since we've got that to we'll do the Hades on the stellar star analysis, and we will do the Achilles on the asteroid survey. And then let's go ahead and see what this cave network is going to give us here. Ooh, gives us improved population capacity and development thresholds. That's going to be really important. So every planet that you colonize has a particular development threshold. That threshold is based on the boosts that you have to your industrial sector. And the higher that is, the more you can build on the planet before you start running into issues with overdevelopment, which increases the upkeep costs of things. Now, the let's see. The population threshold is also good because depending on the type of planet it is, you've got specific amounts of population you can handle on a planet, and you can increase that artificially, but having a higher cap will give us more room here on our homeworld, which is going to be helpful in the future. So that's all really good. Let's see. We are pretty close here to our target. So let's go ahead and advance one more time. Looks like we have a reactor output of minus 11% for our home system. That's going to affect us in combat. Means it'll be a little bit harder for us to get our weapons charged and to balance power across things. At this point, I think we're pretty good, so I don't really think we need to do any adjustments to our colony. Actually, let's go ahead and since we've got this political forum built now, let's go ahead and do cultural enterprises and give that a little bit of a boost. And the reason for that is that it will hopefully give us a little bit of a boost in our population growth, which will be helpful. And it will also help with our tax rates. So we'll go ahead. It looks like we're about to get to Alonius. And let's see what we've got. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a good system for us to colonize early game. Let's see if there's anything interesting to investigate. Okay, cool. Looks like we've got a vessel of some kind and a debris site. So we'll spend a couple of turns looking through that here. This does have potential to be a really good production site if we can find a place to really be able to pump out additional food that we can transport there. Okay. So we have 20% ECM output. That'll help us to not get hit as easily. Looks like we got compute quartz here. So let's go ahead and put the Hades on that to kind of finish out our survey of the asteroid and finish our survey of our home system. While we're waiting for that, I think it's a good time for us to look into upgrading our starbase. So initial starbases don't have a lot of the modules installed, so I'm going to go ahead and install this, which gives us access to deep space sensors, the ability to get better resolution with those sensors, and then some missile launchers, which will be helpful for defense when we need it. Basically what this does is this will let us detect pirate fleets or enemy fleets sooner, and it'll also help us to determine what type of fleet that is rather than just like a sensor signal. So we're going to go ahead and select that and add that. We don't currently have any of the modules that here, so we can't really, outside of the titanium armor plating. So let's go ahead, click on you. And that's about all we can do now. But that'll help us with our early detection. Okay, we have, unfortunately, it looks like nothing there, so we're going to go ahead and move on, because at this point it's going to be more useful for us to find a planet that we can colonize, or at least hopefully find a planet that we can colonize, than it will be for us to continue researching the debris that we found there. So let's see. We've got our deep space sensors and signal intelligence updated here, which is good. And we've still got 3 turns on that, which, let's see. Everything else still looks good here. Okay. We've got a good amount of income now, so we're going to hold out, and here shortly I think we're going to see about starting to build some of our mining barges. Actually looks like I can get one now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then eventually try to get the next one here soon. So once we get those, we'll go ahead and move this quarry fleet off to Elonius to start getting those resources. Okay. Let's also add a couple of points into metropolitan civilization. That'll help us with overcrowding penalties, so that hopefully we won't lose as much population growth there. As we change our orientation politically, these will update and give you information about what your properties are. Like in this case, we have -2% tax tolerance, 1% tax income. So the more taxes we do, the more money we'll make, a lot more money off of that, or a little bit more money off that, but we won't be able to have a happy population, which will very quickly cause us to start losing ground. Let's go ahead and check over here. So now we can move our government to a different type. And I'm going to shift us to one of these here. Let's see. So we are currently going to, if we take social or communism, it's going to increase our base scientific aptitude a little bit, and our base growth rate for population a little bit, and our output a little bit. Looks like agricultural development is going to be reduced, but housing goes up. Nothing else there. If we go to socialism, it looks like we're going to lose some population growth, which is going to be a problem. And yeah, let's not do that. The other option we have is to boost our civilian wages with capitalism. That'll give us a lot more income, which will be helpful earlier in the game, but it's also going to increase our military. So we have a lower side end of the military there. We don't have a lot of troops. That should be okay. Also reduces our base population growth, so we're going to have to look into that. Let's go ahead and do that. If it doesn't work, we're going to move back in 4 turns. So let's see where that puts us. Now we have a net income of 1.2 million, which is really good. However, our growth rate here is down considerably. So let's drop our building here a little bit. Probably means, but this has also improved our food production considerably. So now instead of 50,000, we are getting 130,000 effectively, which is going to be really helpful for if we have to colonize one of those poorer planets. So with all of that, let's go ahead and advance again. And close to Rogana. Now that we've run out of our edict, let's see how we're stacking up. So we're really pretty minimal here with 1,500. Taxes are much better. Our approval is still pretty bad. Looks like our taxes went down because of the package no longer being active. And we can see if we've got enough to build that second mining barge. Nope, still don't have enough. Still getting a decent amount here with our quarry fleet, so we're not wasting time. Unfortunately, it looks like this asteroid is pretty worthless to us. That's unfortunate. And let's see how let's go ahead and put more into our research. It's going to drop the amount that we have coming in, but it'll give us our research a lot quicker that we're working on there, which will help us in the future. Okay. Let's see. Still about a turnout from there. I'm going to go ahead and do another round of stimulus here, because that was very helpful in getting our homeworld moving up. We're pretty close to a event that will give us a pretty sizable boost once we hit a threshold. Like, look here, our next cultural goal is, our colonial goal is 500,000 population. We're at 497,000. When that happens, we'll get a event that will give us a little boost. And we've not quite made it to Regana. So let's go ahead and check you. Okay, we can do our second mining barge now. So let's go ahead and do that. And then let's go ahead and get them moving out. And there we go. Our inaugural ceremony. It's going to increase our population growth and our approval factor, which is also going to improve our population growth considerably. So if we look here, now we're getting about 12,000 per turn. That's only going to last for 1 turn. Let's see. Do we want to increase that? Looks like we're at 81%. No, that's probably more than we want to pay. Actually, let's do it. We'll increase it by 1. We should have enough space here for the about 20,000 new population. Okay. That means now we are at Regana. Let's see what we've got. Again, this is a pretty poor place if we're looking for food. So it looks like we are going to need to do, if Aquarius here doesn't provide us with any usage or useful planets, then we're probably going to have to do a little bit of adjustment to our homeworld development so we can export more food to additional colonies. Let's go. How much did it say that was going to be? 11 turns. We're going to go here. So with another point gain. Let's see. Let's increase adept agrarians. That will help us with our overall output. Not by too much, just enough, I think. Okay, we also have our mining barge. So let's send it over here. See what we can find. As you're playing Stellar Sovereigns, you'll probably notice that the first part of the game is pretty slow. It takes quite a while usually before you end up meeting with other groups, but by around turn 50, turn 60, you'll probably start seeing more pirates and pirate ambushes and things like that, which will kind of help keep the early game moving while you're colonizing things. It's rather unfortunate that we haven't found any really good systems this time, but sometimes it's what happens. So we'll deal with the cards that we've got and see how we go. Okay, doing good there. Let's double check to make sure we're doing okay with that. We're not getting too much population for the jobs that we're creating. Shoot. Bet you this is another fleet. Oh, this is a machine fleet. Yeah, I don't really want to deal with them either, so... I guess we're gonna have to pick one of these then and see what we got. So we're definitely not going to be able to have any real food output here. It's not really good output either. It's got very good system bonus to research. If we have a research station, we can get that bonus, which will help us out a good bit. Let's see. That's going to be a problem, I think, but we'll get some carbon laser rate, which is good. That'll be helpful for some early on approval gains. So let's look there. This is a lot further out than I would prefer. Yeah, let's see if there's anything here that we missed. No? Okay. Well, in that case, I think we're going to have to deal with some of the AI that's around here. I'm going to go ahead and put another marker here for machine fleet. Okay, let's go ahead and colonize then and see what we can do. This isn't bad for population growth. It's got a moon, dry helium, structural composite. Hmm. I think we'll go ahead and colonize this one. So when you're colonizing systems, you have a colony fleet. You can add additional transports to it to increase the capacity you've got. This is your total capacity. And this is how many settlers you're carrying. It requires it requires a minimum of 2,500 pioneers to be able to do this. And then this is the development that you're going to be setting up on the new planet for agricultural and things like that. So this one is super low. So I'm going to probably have to do 2,000 for that. I'm going to do about 6,000 for our housing, or 5,000 for our housing, 2,500 for the industry. Industry is going to cap how much we can develop in each of our sectors on a given turn. So the more we can have here, even if we don't have jobs filled, we'll still increase that, and that'll be helpful. But let's go ahead and send that off. Okay, once that's there, we are going to need to very quickly set up a trade route and import most of the food. Because of that, I think that means that our homeworld here is going to need to have a food processing center, and that will increase the food output by 30% for this first level. That will help us significantly. Okay, good. We're still building our development units here for the industrial sector at a rate that we're not overtaking our total employment there. Good. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. And our quarry fleets arrive. Looks like we're getting some of the Durentium ore, which is good. We need that. And we're also getting a little tiny bit of everything else, a lot of structural composite. But now that we're here, let's go ahead and start setting the Hades to research the various things that are in the system. Okay. Not much is going to be happening these next few turns, so we'll just advance a couple of times. Okay. 50% of the Vulcan Gatling tech, that's pretty decent. I'll take that. Let's go ahead with the vessel and see what we get there. We should be getting our colony here in the next turn or so. No cargo on the vessel, unfortunately. Goodness. Okay, we're going to have to deal with these things because at this point we are blocked in. This is probably going to be, it looks like another machine fleet. So let's go ahead and send our ships back here to our home world and see about getting some stuff moving to help boost our targeting and our ship's strength. You can research as many technologies as you've got money for, so that should still give us a decent amount of income And that reminds me, our orbital station should have enough now to be able to add those missile launchers, which will be good. And our first colony has been established. So coming here, yeah, we're definitely not in a good spot when it comes to food. So what we'll need to do is we need to set up our first trade route. So we can click there, set that here. We now have a trade route set up. With that trade route set up, we can go here and we see we need one freighter with the potential for 7. Trade is kind of interesting in this game in that as you put these freighters in place, we are able to transfer goods, and we can also use that to generate income through tariffs, or if we reduce our tariffs, since it's not really making us any money, it'll help boost trade approval, which will help boost the overall approval on our colonies, which will also help with population growth and political capital gain. So the way that trade routes work is that you set a home system and then you set the system destination system. In between that, the trade kind of goes both ways, but primarily you set loops of trade routes to come back around to your home planet. And each planet, in this case, our Xanthu Prime, creates 43,000, 44,000 of what's called trade goods. Those trade goods are then sent on, and you can see the demand here is 150 currently for Alonius 1. That's leaving us with a domestic surplus capacity here of, looks like 32,600. And that 32,600 still doesn't quite cover the total production that our homeworld does for trade goods, but we don't really care about that because we're not trying to like push those trade goods onto other colonies yet. They're really only just going to Alonius 1. And however, that a large amount of surplus cargo space is going to be very useful for us because we can do resource transfers, and that's going to be how we are able to keep this colony going. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. Let's do 5,000. We'll do 1,000 and 1,000. Now, since these consumables also count as food for your population, it's good to kind of mix because the consumables will increase your approval. So let's go ahead and set that. And now you can see we have a surplus. That's improved our approval rating considerably, and we have a slight amount of political capital gain. We've also got, let's see, okay, very small amount of population being grown here, but what we're going to do, we're going to do about, let's do 500, because we want to keep ahead of our pioneer growth and then manage our food coming in from our homeworld. We'll probably adjust this initially, since as you can see, we're only getting 2 food per unit. That's not going to really be enough to sustain this planet. We could do a few different things. We could go ahead and create a food processing center, which would increase that by 30%, which could make it viable, but probably not all that well. We have a commerce megaplex, which is really not going to help us at this point. And then we've also got this vertical farm, which will give us a ton of agricultural placements as well as food production, which will cover us for quite some time. However, it's going to come at an approval hit. But since we currently have a approval bonus due to the trade approval there, 1.5, and the resource coverage, I'm going to go ahead and set that because I think that it's going to be worth having that huge amount of food here to be able to handle the population. and it'll take pressure off of our home world so we can use this food for another colony if we when we need to. So with that, the next thing we need to do is we need to look at our jobs. This planet really doesn't do a lot for us for our research bonus, so we probably won't deal too much there, but it does have some good resources. So let's go ahead and do that. That'll give us about 1,000 jobs there, and then our population is currently going up, so we won't really mess with anything else here. Cool. And now we've got our first trade route and our first planet set up. Our quarry flotilla, since we do have a colony here now, let's go ahead and set the planetary survey on Elonius 1 to use that and see if we can get any bonuses here. Cool. It looks like we got another freighter. That's going to be helpful for us. Let's go ahead and add him in here. So we've only got one trade route. And our orbital station's all up to date. Got a pretty decent income now, and our tech is progressing pretty well. Once we finish with the hyperlink, we'll go ahead and increase the research on the EPS relays so we can get a bit better usage of the power that we've got. Okay, I think that once we get Epsilon Core back to our homeworld, ooh, that's helpful. We got 2-stage rockets. So that means that if I come here, we got 50% of our 2-stage rocket, which helps with the speed of the missiles that come out of our cruiser. Okay. Let's go ahead and have you doing Elonius 2. See what we get out of that. Actually, let's have you do this, because that's much faster. Okay. We'll go ahead and see what else we get out of our colony, if there's anything, and then that'll probably be where we'll end this episode. Now that Epsilon fleet has arrived, let's go ahead and look at that. We need to get some upgrades going here, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the Assault Plasma variant I've got set up. This is better at knocking down shields because of the Plasma Blasters, and then the Auto Cannon is good at hull damage, so let's go ahead and select that. And we'll select that. And let's see. Good, we can get him fully upgraded here. Okay, we get them fully upgraded as well. I don't think we've got a few things here. I don't think I really want to move him into the missile variant there that I've got set up. I think this will be fine for this one. I'll add some modules when they become available. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add some armor, because that'll help them survive a bit and give us a better chance of taking out some of these sectoids and machine fleets, so we can actually get some hopefully better colonies going soon. And our colony is going pretty good. So now let's go ahead and move these settlers over. So let's just, the game does a good job of rounding down to what you actually have. So let's see, 3,000, we definitely have enough food. And coming in, we have enough housing, that's good. Looks like we have plenty of jobs, so we're going to go ahead and settle these pioneers. That boosts our population a good bit, and we'll keep doing that as time goes on to really get this colony kick-started. Cool. So we got one more turn on our planet, and then we'll end the episode after we see what we get there. Oh, that sucks. Looks like we have found a retro plague on our planet that really knocks back our growth bonus. So I'm going to have to look into that and see how badly that's going to affect us. We're going to have to be careful on this planet as we improve it. Probably going to need to use several of our stimulus and edicts to make sure that this planet keeps growing. Okay, well, I think that puts us in a good spot for us to continue on with episode 3 to start trying to clear some of these systems. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.